out here together, man. I'm gonna get to my last track.
Hello everybody, welcome. This is Nico from Riot. We're here live at the memorial site for George Floyd. We're going to be filming a Muslim vigil put together by two black Muslim women. That's happening in a moment. They're warming up for the vigil right now. Right now you see some dancers outside of the circle.
They don't want to see vacant. To the generation miseducated. We belong to a new far preparation. Now we sell the souls in the 40 years.
Hope you all are having a good day out there. Right out here is a ton of community coming together. A pretty festive atmosphere celebrating George Floyd's life and the ideas of something new. You see tents, they're giving away food, they're giving away products, they're giving away household products, cleaning products, hygiene supplies. Here's some household products.
So I think Chelsea might have asked this, but how long have you guys been
See, these are donations that have come in from all over. See in the distance.
I go to college. Well, I just graduated.
They even have more.
So
people are able to get fed up here and also take things home that are needed. That's what's happening up here on 38th in Chicago, a land without police. A land without police for more than 9 days, I believe. We've spoken to people up here who said they absolutely love what's happening, that there's no crime happening. There's not petty crime, there's not nothing really happening in the neighborhood. Everybody's looking out for each other. There's security out here that control every perimeter.
Say his name! Say his name! Say his name!
Last night rain came through and tarps were quickly handed over to all of the flowers and the decorations that have been donated out here. The people, as quickly as the people put this vigil site up, they also protected it. That was last night. Today, what you're seeing is over 1,000 people out here. Everybody is here, seems to be here for the main purpose of seeking justice for George Floyd and remembering his name, speaking his name, and seeking new alternatives. As we said, that the police are not up here. The police haven't been up here for many days, for over a week. And the community is saying that they do not need them. This is proof. Yesterday you can go into our stream, and last night you'll see many people talk about that, how the police are not needed. Well, for them to have police masks, that was weird. Looks like they brought their kids. So they had like the blue line on their mask, and they brought their two youth out here. Not sure what that means, if that means anything. It could mean that they're police officers, and the man is a police officer, or the woman, husband or wife, and that they are also in solidarity with the protesters. We're going to stick around here right now, or else I would ask him a question. There's going to be a vigil that's going to start in a moment. And that's what we are going to bring you today from 38th in Chicago.
I believe that when God created us, He created us in His image and in His likeness. He said we are made in His image. Every life is variable.
Yeah, right now they're waiting for a reciter of the Quran, and once that person comes, they will start the vigil.
That contribution is wrong.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. Assalamu alaikum everybody. Louder. Assalamu alaikum everybody. Better. My name is Filson. And this is
Ayan, Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much. We organized this event just to pay our respects to George Floyd and his family. As a lot of us are feeling the pain, feeling the injustice, and a lot of us, this is new, and I want to welcome you to this space, and I really encourage you to not call this a one-off, to really call this a lifestyle, and to call out white supremacy, police brutality, everything that's hurting and killing our community out all day, every time you see it. Thank you. So we have speakers lined up for you, folks that are going to just talk about their life experiences, what this means to us, and what we as a community can do and should do moving forward. And we have, hopefully we're going to try to make a collective dua to George Floyd and his family and the murderers that inshallah will not get away with this, and we really want to make that intention out to the world, so that is felt.
Yeah, thank you Fasan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you everybody for coming out here today. We know that as Muslims, a lot of us have been here protesting, but we wanted to make sure visually that we were seen and heard, and that we are uplifting the people in our community, and that as a larger community we are coming together and we're standing for the right thing, and that we are ending the reign of police terror in this state and in this country. And so today we have planned youth and elders and people are going to come up here and pay their respects to George and the victims of police brutality. We're going to have poetry, we're going to have song, and this is us coming together as a community, paying our respect, uniting, and showing that we are not going to allow another death to happen here or in this country. So thank you guys for coming. With that being said, we're going to start with our first speaker, Dominique. Come through. Let's a round of applause, please. Let's make some noise. Woo!
Thank you, Ayan. Thank you for everybody for being here. First and foremost, I want to say rest in peace to every black person extrajudicially executed in this country since the beginning of this country, to the people whose land was stolen in order to build this monument to genocide. I don't have a lot to say. I haven't really had a lot of... Speak up. I'm sorry about that. I'm trying not to get too close to this mic because I'm scared of the Rona, y'all. I apologize. I don't really have much prepared that I want to say. A few things that I would like to just say about myself. I'm a community organizer. Right now I'm living in St. Paul. I'm also a restorative justice practitioner. So for the past 5 years of my life, I've dedicated most of my organizing and restorative practices toward a surveillance program that's targeted specifically the East African Muslim community within the Twin Cities. Above and beyond that, this has laid the infrastructure for a surveillance program that plans to round up everybody here, keep tabs on them, keep a database of them, and know to separate. It's really about the broadening of criminal categories, right? So surveillance looks different for white communities than it does for our communities. Sometimes when we talk about surveillance, we could say it's these cameras everywhere, the cameras that they've put up on the traffic lights or on the stop signs or that roll around in the mobile units. But for us, surveillance looks much more insidious. For us, surveillance looks like tracking lists of people who come to your events. It looks like monitoring any sort of medical records you have as far as your mental health history and passing that on to law enforcement. Surveillance for our community sometimes means that the state will monitor who you're able to live with and who you're not able to live with. A lot of the surveillance infrastructure that's been built in this country is meant to weaponize one's sense of cultural identity, and it's meant to encourage people to assimilate. As we can see, even when we assimilate, we're not protected. And from my experience, I've seen that the Somali community, the East African community, the Muslim community has built on the foundation of resistance to social injustice that we as African American folks have been building on from time immemorial. I'm really happy to see everybody out today. The last few things I would say is that the future is an abolitionist one, the future is a black one, and the future has already begun today. Next, I want to introduce a young organizer who's really taught me a lot in everything that she does. She just finished at the University of Minnesota, Salma Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. Woo, this is loud. Okay, can y'all hear me? Yeah. Okay, I'm kind of short. I don't want to get too close to the mic. My name's Selma. Thank you, Dominique, for that beautiful introduction. I get embarrassed when people introduce me, so I was looking away and I was like, please cut the mic right now. How's everybody doing today? Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Well, the good news is I'm not affiliated with any organization. I'm speaking as myself. I'm speaking for myself. And the bad news is that some of you guys might not like what I have to say, but I hope you'll listen anyway, inshallah. I hope you'll listen. Sisters and brothers, before I start, I want to acknowledge that we are standing on stolen, looted Dakota land right now. That history is very, very, very important when we think about imperialism, white supremacy, when we think about what brings us right here, right now. It's very important that we acknowledge that. And as far as Muslim solidarity with the indigenous community goes, we need to do better. And this is a reminder to myself first and foremost, but we have to hold ourselves accountable in learning and understanding the painful history of oppression that was and is inflicted upon indigenous folks every single day in this country. In an ironic, turn of events, the powers that be want to give oppressed peoples a history lesson on morality. It's it's almost laughable, wallahi, when we all know that this country has absolutely no moral leg to stand on. It has absolutely no authority to talk about what is violent, what is not. We live in violence every single day, and y'all know that. I don't have to tell you that. You know that. Whew. I just want to give myself a second to breathe. I feel like with everything happening, I haven't really had a chance to breathe, and right now I'm up here in front of you guys and I feel like I can't breathe a little bit. So if I take some pauses, please forgive me. I just want to ground myself and then just kind of, just thank you guys. Thank you. I want to tell you guys a little quick story of a woman named Maureen Hansberry. She was a writer and a civil rights activist. Well, in 1963, she and her close friend, James Baldwin, one of my heroes, met with Bobby Kennedy, who was U.S. Attorney General at the time, to request that he tells his brother, President JFK, to personally escort to school a small black girl already scheduled to enter a Deep South school. James said, that way, it will be clear that whoever spits on that child will be spitting on the nation. And just to give you guys some context, that was when schools were becoming desegregated and white folks were protesting all the time, every day, violently, in opposition to desegregation. So James, when they asked him that, James quotes Bobby Kennedy as having said that this would be a meaningless moral gesture, which obviously shows, how little he values a young black girl's life. But I mean, are we surprised? No, I'm not surprised. And this is the part that, oh my God, this is the part that literally shakes me to my core, you guys. Listen to Lorraine's response. This is why I love black women, and I will always, always, always be in solidarity with black women. I am a black woman, but she asked Bobby for a moral commitment to do what's right, no matter how uncomfortable it is to him, no matter how uncomfortable it might be to the nation. He could have set a precedent. He had an opportunity to set a precedent. She says, and I quote, "I am very worried about the state of a civilization which produced the photograph of a white cop standing on that Negro woman's neck in Birmingham." There's a very popular photo that came out in the 60s of a woman, I believe she was protesting, maybe somebody can fact check me, but I believe she was protesting, and there was a white cop who was standing, like kneeling, just in the same way that, Officer Derek Chauvin did. He was kneeling on her neck as well. Profoundly, almost 60 years later, I stand before you all, enraged like many of you, at the state of a country that produced the video of the lynching of George Floyd. How 3 cops stood by and listened while George pleaded for his life. 60 years later, you guys, and they're still standing on our necks. Do you know why? Because they never got up in the first place. They barely let us gasp for air in the first place. I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't watch the video for several days. Even now, just thinking about it, I'm shaking. I think those of you who are close by can see my bodily, my physical reaction to this. but I could not watch the video for several days. And when I finally did, I remember feeling so hot, like so hot. I think I was wearing like a robe or something. I took it off. I wanted to just like completely just undress. Like I was so hot. Immediately my body started to burn up. My stomach felt like lava. I felt so dizzy and nauseated, you know? And I realize now that that was a trauma response. That was a trauma response. My body was literally responding to a trauma. And these last two, I'm sorry. Thank you. I remember crying my eyes out while hearing his pleas go ignored. I remember crying in a way that I had never cried before, not necessarily out of sadness, but more so helplessness, more so rage, outrage. I knew how the video would end, and yet I still prayed for a different outcome. Many of us did. These last 2 weeks, I found myself teetering between grief and a deep sense of urgency. I'm grieving the loss of my brother George, though I've never met him. I'm grieving what it means for us as Black people to live in this country. I'm grieving because it doesn't, like, I love history. I'm a history nerd. Anyone who knows me knows that. But it doesn't, I could open any page in the autobiography of Malcolm X. I could open any page in the autobiography of Assata Shakur. I could point to any line, and whatever they were angry about, whatever, rightfully so, whatever they were protesting about, whatever injustices plagued them, still plague us today. 60 years later, 70 years later, 80 years later. If they were alive, they would be 80, 90 years old. What has changed? I am tired. Aren't you guys tired? I'm tired. I'm tired of coming. I love seeing your beautiful faces, but I'm tired of coming to protest. I'm tired of speaking. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired. I'm never going to be tired of being Black, but I am tired of having to explain my Blackness. I'm tired of having to make space for people who don't want to make space for me. I'm tired of some folks in the non-Black Muslim community. I'm gonna be honest. I told you y'all ain't gonna like what I have to say. I told you, I'm not sugarcoating nothing for nobody. Malcolm X, rahimahullah, if he were alive today, I promise you, the Muslim majority would not like him. They would not. We want to reveal him. We want to revere him now. We want to hold him to a pedestal now, but he was not liked by his community. He wasn't. And that was the mostly Black community. So imagine this one. I don't even know what to say. But all I know is, if you are a young activist, I urge you, don't feel like you need to be liked by anybody. Yep. Allah likes you. Yes. Allah loves you. And that's all that matters. Yes. I promise you. Wow. You don't need to pay into respectability politics. None of that. None of that. Especially if you're a Black organizer. Please. If you forget everything that I said today, please just remember that part. Please. As I heal and I continue the good fight, I am giving urgency to Black people and Black people only. Quite frankly, I do not have the energy to give it to anybody else. And I encourage every Black Muslim here, every Black person here, to invest in yourself. If the non-Black people in your life are apolitical or they're remaining neutral on this very clear human rights issue, there's absolutely nothing you can say that will change their mind right now. Focus on you. Focus on healing. Focus on what it means to wake up every day exhausted because you know you're living as a Black person in this country, as a Black Muslim person in this country, all right? Prioritize what matters. To all of my non-Black Muslim sisters and brothers here, I love y'all, but again, I'm gonna keep it real. And if it offends you, then maybe the shoe fits. Maybe you need to look internally and see why it offends you. Please, 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 stop saying people of color when you really mean Black, okay? They're not synonymous. They're not interchangeable. They're not nowhere near the same. And if us coming here today, if y'all forget anything else I said today, please remember that part. They are not interchangeable. Please learn why. Don't ask me. Don't ask any other Black person to teach you. Google is a fabulous resource. It's a fabulous resource. Ain't nobody educate us. We have to go out and educate ourselves. So y'all need to take that burden off of us and put it on you, and put it on your folks and your people. You don't have to pass the mic. Just turn yours off. just turn yours off. We don't need you to have to step down from your podium and give it to us. We have our podiums. You just need to open your eyes and see. We have our podiums, we have our platforms. What you need to do is listen to us. We've been speaking. We've been in echo chambers where people look like us and talk like us and think like us. If you want to be invited into those spaces, if you want to come into those spaces, listen. That's what you gotta do. Focus on correcting anti-blackness within yourself first and foremost, and those closest to you. And I promise you, you don't need to tell me that your grandma said Abid or Khalu or whatever in 2008 and you corrected her. I really don't need to know. Please don't tell me at all, actually. Please. I don't need to know the harmful and racist language that your friends and your family members engage in. You don't have to regurgitate that information to prove something to me. The only thing that does for your black friends is harm them. It emotionally harms them. So that's on you to take care of that. If I call you my friend, and a lot of you are my friends here today, then I trust that you'll handle it. I trust that you're not going to let that behavior go unchecked. Otherwise, you're not a friend. Because I use that word very intentionally. When I call you my friend, I have a set of standards that I hold you by. You're not a friend in that case. You're a classmate, you're an acquaintance, you're a coworker, you're a Muslim brother and sister in Islam. You know, even that has its own set of standards if we look deeply in our deen. But like I said, I hold my friends to a higher standard. The last thing I want to say, I know I've been up here for a minute. I'm feeling like I can't breathe again, but the last thing I want to say before I pass the mic to our beautiful and lovely organizers is to thank our beautiful and lovely organizers themselves. I am so honored and so proud of, oh, I thought that said Blue Lives Matter. I was about to like knock that out of your head. I didn't see that was you, Zamzam, I love you. But, ooh, this is triggering. Okay, so I gotta get back into the right mindset. I was on something real quick. Okay, I remember now. So the last thing I want to say is, you know, subhanAllah, black women, black Muslim women, we often get ignored, we often get forgotten, even by black men sometimes. And, you know, I want you guys, as you are doing this research, whether you're black, whether you're not black, I want you to pay particular attention to black women, civil rights leaders, black women who are empowered by black radicalism, both in the present, both in history. It doesn't take much to find them because we exist and we've been here. And black men, I love them. I love y'all. First of all, I don't even have to talk about them. I can talk to them. They're here. Black men, I love you guys so much. But I need y'all to show out and show up for us the way that we've been showing up for you, the way that we always show up for you. I need you to amplify our voices the way that we've been amplifying your voices, okay? I want you guys to remember Breonna Taylor. She would have been, if memory serves correctly, 27 today, right? Her birthday is today. And, you know, I don't want to take away anything from the pain of George Floyd's murder. I don't want to take away anything, but black women exist too. We've been here, we will be here. I need y'all to make better space for us, okay? I need you guys to individually take into account what you do and what you don't do, and how that contributes to the status quo, okay? I want to end it with dua because I'm Muslim and we believe in prayer for everybody. I have never made dua against anybody in my entire life, in my 23 years of life. Never. Until George Floyd's murder surfaced. You know, I've never. And I'm not going to sit up here today and make dua against anybody right now. I think that's somebody else's job, somebody else in the lineup, not me. But I do want to say, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to have prophetic empathy, prophetic justice, prophetic beauty, emotional intelligence, a just world, a beautiful world. May Allah give us the ability to stand up against any type of oppression, even if it's against our own selves. May Allah not make us cowards. May Allah bring the killer of George Floyd and all killers of all people who have died under this police state, may Allah bring their killers to justice. And if not in this life, then best believe I'm watching out for the next one. I'm telling God personally how much this one hurts. Inshallah. Allahumma ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Let's give it up for Selma one more time. So Selma started her speech by saying that she might offend folks on what she said, but not a single lie was told in her speech. Not a single lie. And if that offends anybody, anywhere, anytime, y'all got your priorities all the way messed up. All the way messed up. And as Muslims, we know better. We know what's in the Quran. We know what's in the Hadith. We know what our prophets time and time again went through. They went through injustice. They went through radical change. They were revolutionaries. Revolutionaries, it's on us. People who believe, it's on us to make sure that we, the tiny amount of time that we have on this world, live up to what we believe and what we know for our religion to hold. Every day when we pray, we read Al-Fatiha. Every day, and we make dua from Ilahi to make us the ones that are on the right path. What do you think that means? To fight for all of us, to see justice wherever you see fit. So every day you stand in front of Ilahi and you don't make that happen, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call it like it is. You're a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite. If the blood doesn't move in you when a person is getting murdered, if a little kid is seeing the violence happen day in, day out, and you have nothing to do with that, and you don't want to fix that, you are 100% a hypocrite. And you, wallahi, I'm gonna make dua for you. I'm gonna make dua for myself and everybody in here to be better, to know better, because we are Muslims. We have a big burden. We're gonna die one day. We're gonna be in front of Ilahi, and what are we gonna show? What are we gonna show? The stuff that we believe in, the Quran that we read, the Hadith that we follow. If we don't stand for a fellow human that's being murdered, a fellow human that's hungry, a fellow human that's just feeling injustice every single day, day in, day out, then we have no right to call ourselves Muslim. We have no right. We have no right. Why do we even believe? If we're not, all of our prophets, every single one of them, made the world a better place after they, like during the small the small life that they lived, after they died, they were radical changes that they left behind. What are people going to say about us? What are our kids going to say about us? What are our grandkids going to say about us? That we just took it? That we just saw all this injustice and weren't even affected by this? And we as Muslims need to know better. We as Muslims come from multiple countries where the United States of America bombs us, where they kill us, where they portray us like terrorists. Like what we have to say doesn't matter. Like our culture is backward. Like you know this, I don't have to tell you this. We need justice. We need justice here. We need justice everywhere. But if your blood doesn't move as a Muslim by seeing this, then you have no right calling yourself a Muslim. And I'm glad that you guys are out. I'm glad that you're out in this fight. But I really want all of us, especially our non-Muslims, to go to their communities, to talk to their families, and have hard conversations. Because I know you all know. I know you all know all the racists that runs rampant. I know what we say, what people say to my face, let alone what they say behind my back. I know how people feel about black people, regardless if they're educated or not. It's on us to do our justice within our communities. Our messages are segregated. We don't really communicate with each other as we should. We don't fight for our justice as we should. So starting today, I really want y'all, especially non-Muslims, like Selma said, Google is there at the hand of our fingertips. Google is free, a better thing. You can count all these things. You can read. You can encourage your families. You can have conversations. We can make a better world for all of us, and we need to make a better world for all of us if we're gonna call ourselves Muslims at the end of the day. You with me? So thank you again, Selma. Thank you. I don't think you offended anybody, and I swear to God, if anybody was offended, you gotta get your priorities right. Because if you're a Muslim, this is our fight. This is our fight. Thank you, Phil. I want to
remind everybody we're still in a pandemic, so if you all could socially distance and avoid contact, that would be helpful. The next speaker we have coming up is a young man who's an activist and organizer, the president of MSA at the University of Minnesota. Give it up for Malik Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. So I came here, I was asked to speak, and when I got here I got ambushed and told that I need to read some Quran. So before I got here, my stomach was just turning itself over, and all I could do was just sit and pray in my room. The light was dim, and I sat there and I prayed, and I was just thinking about the life that's there for us in the next, how much better it is, and that's what I'm working for. So I'm going to read a bit of Surah Naba, Amma for our Somalis, and inshallah, hope you guys enjoy. Inna lilmuttaqina mafaza حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب أترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا تكبير So I am completely sickened, I'm enraged, I am so pained, and also simultaneously so numb. George Floyd last Monday evening was murdered just on that block. The murder of George Floyd was a daylight lynching. This has been something that's been plaguing the police department here for a long time, since the founding of policing. White supremacy, police brutality, this is something that we're not going to stand for anymore. The other day I had a heart-to-heart conversation with my mom, and she was honestly so shocked to see how deeply pained and grieved I was. How deeply the murder of George Floyd touched me, as if he was a close friend of mine. She couldn't understand this connection I felt to this man that I've never met. The man whose name I didn't even know before last Monday. But when I watched the video of George Floyd's life being choked out of him, I was being choked too. My mom didn't know that there was a carnal fire being lit in the deepest part of deep inside of me. A fire burning me up, using my essence as kindling and my anger to fan the flames. This was a fire that I couldn't wash away. A fire that's been rousing me and draining me since last Tuesday morning. See, I don't think that my mom and I saw the same thing in that video. Allah had George's name written last Monday night. But those police officers weren't looking for George Floyd in particular. They were just looking for a black man and an excuse. When I saw George's life being choked out of him, I saw my younger brother's life being choked out of him. And I brought him here today because I wanted him to hear that. This is something that I worry about, something that plagues my thoughts. I couldn't sleep at all last night. I went to sleep at 6 a.m. I woke up again at 7, tried to go to sleep, woke up again at 9. I want to make some dua. Ya Allah, the all-hearing and the all-merciful. We come to you humbly today, thanking you for the opportunity to still be alive, to still be in this land of the living, because we know our brother George Floyd and so many others didn't make it to see today. Whether it was COVID-19 or the murder of police, so many others didn't make it to see today. Allah, I thank you for my brothers and my sisters that are here today. I ask you to touch us, to cover us, and to protect us. The great poet Amir Suleiman once said, he told us about the great lie that cowardice lengthens life and that courage shortens it. Our time is written, and a shorter life well lived has much more value than a long life that was wasted. Allah, give us the power, give us the courage, and give us the strength to stand. Give us the strength to stand up and keep fighting. Help us have compassion for ourselves and keep us in the running because we know that this is America. And like my sister Salma mentioned before, there is a plague that has been obviously brought up these last few days of racism and anti-blackness in the non-black Muslim community. Some questions that I challenge you guys to ask yourselves. Is your community engaged in coalitions against racism? Does your community have a civic engagement committee? Does your community engage elected leaders about the need for police accountability? Are you satisfied with the plan that elected leaders have about reform and police supervision? Does your imam give sermons about how Black Lives Matter? Does your weekend school have a curriculum that decentralizes Arab centricism and supremacy and includes the contributions of Black Muslims in Islamic history? Ask yourself, am I racist? These are questions that I ask every non-Black Muslim friend that I have here to ask themselves over and over again. Because nothing that we do will bring back George and all the other countless Black lives that have been killed and senselessly murdered. But we can do the work that it entails to hold accountable those who perpetrate these actions and make sure that it never happens again. It is an uphill battle, but it is one that we have an obligation to commit to. I am calling for this community to stand up for what is right and not be silent in the face of injustice. I am calling on our allies in this community to stand up and do what's right by speaking up for your fellow Black Muslim brothers and sisters in this humanity. We are weary. We are pained. My beloved Black brothers and sisters, please take the time to take care of yourselves. You are loved. Your pain is real. Your feelings are valued. You matter. Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Malik. I want to thank everybody for coming out here today. We're going to do some chants. Let's get the spirit up. When I say his name, you're going to say George Floyd. Or what should I say? What's his name? Say his name. Okay, there we go. Say his name. George Floyd. 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 Black name. Say his name.
Let him rest.
There's a lot of people out here showing support, showing love. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you guys for coming here today. We're not going to allow the police to kill one more person in our city, in our state. We're going to fight back. We were here when they killed Jamar Clark, when they killed Philando, when they killed Isaac. And we're all here now for George. But we shouldn't be here after the fact. We need to make sure that MPD and all these other cops do not take another life from us. That's our responsibility.
It's called Aqua. And I see a lot of people out here, we hot, we in the sun. And I also see
we have a lot of work to do. But this is the first step. It's gonna go past this day, this event, this vigil. We are going to promise to be here for each other. And we've already been doing that. When the cops fled, it was us who were holding down our communities and neighborhoods. We're the ones who offered mutual aid and set up food drives. We're the ones who looked out for each other when KKK was roaming the streets. And the cops too, and the National Guard. We're not gonna allow these people to terrorize us. Not one more life. Say his name. 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 Black lives. 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 That's right, that's right. Thank you guys. Our next speaker is a young lady, Hafsa Hassan. She is a worker at Amazon and an organizer, and she has something very powerful she needs to say. So let's give a round of applause for our sister.
I want to start off by saying Assalamu alaikum, and that's basically peace on to each and every single one, sending you positive vibrations, peace. And peace is something that George Floyd, he basically, it would exude from him. Various videos are being shown where he just stood for peace. He did not want people killing each other, yet he got killed in such an unpeaceful way. And to think the people that are supposed to make us feel safe, the people that are supposed to protect us, have done that to him. It just baffles me. And I'm sure it baffles each and every single one here. And if it doesn't baffle you, you need to really reconsider your life and wonder, where have I gone wrong? One thing I want to say is, a lot of people have been saying, ever since 2020 has begun, that it should be cancelled. But 2020 is definitely the year that we're going to look at and we're going to be like, that is the year that we have decided it's enough. Every single year we've been saying that it's been enough, but this year is enough. Too many lives have been killed. Too many innocent lives have been killed. To think someone is standing on your neck and you're saying you can't breathe, but they don't want to listen to you. Why? It makes no sense. And someone who is senseless could just never understand why that's the case. But I want to make sure, and I want to ask each and every single person that's out here, when you go back home, please make sure that you are part of these city council meetings where changes happen. Make sure that you are part of the school board meetings where changes happen. I see a lot of beautiful faces out here. I see a lot of bright people out here. Make sure that you go out there and you make sure your voice is heard. To people that are not from the black community, please, I urge you guys, educate yourself. It's very exhausting to be told or asked, can you please educate me? I go to college and Google has taken me through college, I'm going to be very honest. And I'm sure it's the case for many people out here. Google is one of the very easiest sources that help. But also things like these, events like these help you understand the importance of this. So what I want to say is, there are many systems out there put in place to make injustice just thrive. And from here on out, whether it's the health justice, whether it's the education justice, whatever system it is, education system, health system, the criminal justice system that just baffles me because it really doesn't serve many of us. I want each and every single person to go out there, make sure that our voices are heard, and our voices never die. Because guess what? George Floyd is dead, but his voice is still being heard till this day. And 20 years from now, 40 years from now, 60 years from now, his voice will not remain silent. Don't let it remain silent. Thank you guys, and I want to end up by saying peace. The exact same thing that George Floyd exuded. The same thing he epitomized. The same thing he stood for. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day.
Let's give a round of applause. Thank you, Hafsa. Woo! That was very powerful and very much needed. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is a youth organizer and a poet who's here to perform spoken words that she has prepared in honor of George Floyd and for this event. So without much further ado, please give a round of applause to Iqbal Muhammad. Let's go!
Assalamu alaikum. So I wrote this last night, like on the spot, so bear with me, okay? When I walk with a stride. I walk with a no one can touch me glare. I walk as if my life depends on it because my life depends on it. As a woman, as a black woman, as a black Muslim woman, my very existence is a nightmare that white men can't seem to wake up from. My innate intuition scares the shit out of him. And so I will keep walking with attitude, with hopes that he will not mistake my loving energy as an invitation to take what isn't his, since that's all he knows how to do. As I grow, I really see the gray in things. But there is no gray in white men lynching black bodies as metals. It's simply black and white. Simply white and wrong, nothing right, all left, 6 feet under. I didn't know a dead man could be charged with his own murder. Now I only see red. I see red lines drawn in my neighborhood. I see black guns with red targets drawn to my head. I see white hoods colored in baby blue with a 666 badge instead of a cross drawn. And they ask, why can't we be peaceful? I ask, how can we speak peace if the only language used against us is violence? The only language used against us that they understand is profits. If war is business and genocide and investment, capitalizing off of our color as if we are a commodity, picking and choosing what parts of us they want to keep for themselves and what other parts aren't worth the sales. When black blood is trending, as if they didn't come from us, as if Adam and Eve weren't black, as if our blood isn't pulsing with a force that is godly. My hood is filled with forces that are godly, filled with revolutionary minds, a young Malcolm X that wears her hijab with pride, an Angela Davis that teaches his brothers not to stride, a sea full of mentors that pour knowledge into our hungry minds. So when I got brothers and sisters whose last names have been stolen from them and then replaced with Christian names, I will fight by any means necessary. And when we still got people who preach that we can straighten a system from within that was built on a crooked foundation, I will fight by any means necessary. I will enter without permission. I will apply pressure until the nooses on our necks glisten like diamonds. And if we're getting real, when are we gonna start to teach our youngins not how to read, but how to question what they read? When will we understand that freedom ain't free, that we gotta take and not wait, cause baby, life ain't guaranteed. Understand, when my black skin is the threat, it is impossible to be unarmed. When what they fear is my beating heart, there's a war on black. So black is my synonym to safe. Maybe not your kind, but we like it that way. Our kinky black afros and red and blue paint protect us from the I'm your white savior saints. And maybe we'll shoot a couple bullets to the sky just to keep that gentrification shit away. Keeping our blackness, our kind of safe. I'm gonna end with this. Black baby girl, you are beyond this reality. Black baby boy, you are beyond this reality. I am tired, but my blackness is my key. And for you, baby girl, I'ma chase what's written for me, cause baby boy, freedom ain't free. Black baby girl, you are beyond this reality. Black baby boy, you are beyond this reality. I am tired, but my blackness is my key. And for you, baby girl, I'ma chase what's written for me, cause baby boy, freedom ain't free. Thank you.
Talk about it. Freedom ain't free. That shit is earned. That is earned. And I'm sorry for my language, but that's earned. That is earned. I want everybody in here to think about the injustices black people have been suffering in America for the past 400 years. Imagine living freely in your country. And I know a lot of folks talk about, and a lot of people don't want to talk about slavery, but to think, first of all, the evil thought that a person can think of going to a land that is that's foreign to them and thinking of people as machines to work for them for free, evil, unexcusable evil. And Ilahi is going to deal with that person in Yom Al-Qiyamah and the whole system that is still in effect today. That is still happening today. That's all those names when you were coming up here that were like written on the ground. That those people should be free. Those people should be happy. Those people should be worrying about what to watch on Netflix. Not dead. Not taken away from their families. Never to be seen again. Those people should be here with all of us today. And it's on us to make sure that the systems that took them away don't have no way of making that happen ever again while we are alive. That is on us. It's on us to fight, and really, it's on us to make the system better. Because if you think about it, people make systems. And if we dismantle people to change the system, change will come. And I know a lot of people, especially in the suburbs, have been up in arms about the destruction of property on Lake and St. Paul. And I just want to speak to you about how a building burning down has offended you more than a person's life being taken. That is unexcusable to me. In a year from now, heck, in 6 months from now, those buildings are going to be up. Everything's going to be peachy. The paint is going to be dry. But you know what? George Floyd's not going to be back. His daughter misses him. His loved ones aren't going to have him. So how dare you say those things are equal? How dare you? How dare you even think that those are the same thing? And for us, we believe that a life, if a person takes a life, is as if they killed all of humanity. And if a person saves a life, it's as if they've saved all of humanity. So I hope we're gonna make dua, inshallah. And I'm not one for kumbaya. I'm not one for let's get along. I'm one that it says in the Quran, inshallah, or in the hadith, be careful of the prayers of the oppressors, because there's nothing between them and Ilahi. And I'm gonna make my dua very, very, very specific. Inshallah, we're gonna get to that point later. But it's not gonna be kumbaya. It's not gonna be, oh yeah, police is what's up. It's not gonna be like we love them. It's none of that. We are here to abolish the police. We're here to defund the police. We're here to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We're here to make sure that we're not gonna be out in 6 months, in a year, chanting another name, crying about a person who is dead, who's never going to come back. We're not here for that. We're here to abolish the police. We're here to take our money back, put it back in our communities. That's what we're fighting for today.
That's right. That's 100% correct. Thank you, Filson. There is no peace without justice. There is no peace without justice. Things are not going to go back to the way it was. It's not going to be business as usual. We're not going back to that way. And it's up to us to stand up to these police officers who feel like they have a right to come into our neighborhoods, to our schools, to our places of worship, and beat us and surveil us and kill us, and they have the comfort of killing somebody in broad daylight while multiple people are watching and filming, and they know they can do this because they know they can get away with it. That is what this country has taught them. That is what they have learned from the rest of their officers. That is not one bad apple, that is all of them. And there can be no good cop if you are allowing this to happen. You understand? We're not kneeling with cops out here, period. You can kneel out of your job, that's what you can do. Take the uniform off, take the badge off, put that gun down. Because you don't deserve to be here. You will not terrorize us any longer. And I want to speak about some youth that are here today, including Iqbal, who just performed a poem. These kids are out here at night, staying up all night, protecting their neighborhoods from the KKK and the cops and the National Guard, who are attacking protesters, medics, and journalists, because we're all the same to them. They're out here every single night protecting their neighborhoods, and during the day, they're organizing food drives. They're getting food to the elderly and the disabled and people who need it, and poor people. That's what they're doing 24/7. They haven't had a break since George Floyd died. So I need you guys to reach into your pockets and support them. Put your money where your mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is. We have signs here. We collected their cash app. Send them money directly. That's who's doing the work. The kids are out here doing the work. And they're the ones who are out there protesting. And while we're staying at home obeying curfew, they're out there fighting for our freedom every single night. And we need to stand with them. How dare we? We're letting kids out there fighting for us. That's like being a parent and putting your kid in front of you instead of putting them behind you. What do we look like? We're letting high schoolers and little kids out here getting maced by cops and tear gassed and beaten and shot with rubber bullets. We have to do better. We have to do better for George Floyd, but we also have to do better for ourselves. We're still out here. So please support the youth and support the organizations who've been here too. It's on us. We need to act with our words, with our actions, all of it, not just one or the other. We need to fully support each other, and we need to fully support Black Lives Matter. This is a movement. This is real. It's been here. If this is your first time out, we thank you. We appreciate you. We want to see you here next time. We want to see you here again. This isn't a one-time off thing. This is a movement. They can kill people, but they can't kill an idea. They can kill people, but they can't kill our faith. They can't kill a belief. Cops cannot kill brotherhood. They cannot kill our sisterhood. We're out here, period. They're gonna recognize us. Now the next speaker is a young man, an organizer and a poet, and one of the youth I'm talking about, who are out here protecting neighborhoods by night and organizing food drives by day, taking care of community. I want you guys to all give a round of applause and support and welcome Muhammad Salat. Let's go.
Assalamu alaikum. Oh, this thing is loud. How y'all doing today? I know it's kind of hot, so I'll try to keep it brief. But before I start on my poetry, I want to give a big shout out to the black women that organized this. Can we give them a round of applause, please? So, in every aspect of history, right, in every movement, women are forgotten, right? Women aren't given the respect that they deserve, and they are given the credit that they deserve, right? Let it be Coretta Scott King, let it be Asada Shakur. There's a lot of people that allowed men like me to stand here and be free in the middle of the street and do poetry, but we don't give them the respect that they deserve. So please, if you're a man out there, continue to do that and continue to grow. I'm gonna start with myself, inshallah. So this piece is one of the first pieces of poetry, I wrote. One of our brothers, Ilawun Haristo, died yesterday. I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago actually, due to gun violence, right? And George Floyd died about a week ago, right? So black men are getting killed constantly, right? And as that continues to happen, we kind of forget about our place in the world, right? And we kind of forget about our fabric and our history and our being as a whole, right? So this piece is kind of about that. Now we're stuck between black screens and rest in peace, while our mothers rest in pieces. It ain't winter no more, but our souls are freezing. It feels like summer. The sun sets in my hands, and when I dream in color. See, you are my favorite color, my remedy. I hope as I lose my mind, you remember me. Someday we'll all just fade into memory. Let Allah do the punishing, our souls can't handle it. Learn to love the colors you wear. We all get buried in white, our faces will have sand in it. And in spite of all, the sun still sets in the east, the leaves still fall, the sun still rises in the west, and we feast and eat and bawl and argue about cause, so please do not despair. For despair tears the fabrics of our hearts, takes the bounce out of our hair, and if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the kids who dance without a care. See, I don't want to write about death no more, I just do it because I'm scared. I don't want to write about the streets no more, I just do it because I care. Thank you. So, this whole week has been, it really doesn't feel like a week. It feels like a long, like month or a year. It feels like a very long time, right? But every day has been something new. Let it be us taking over the precinct, let it be shutting down 35W. Like, I used to go down 35W every day, right? To go to school, to go to the basketball court, wherever it may be, right? And for us to actually walk down that freeway, right, and shut it down and do it for George Floyd and do it for this movement is something beautiful, right? But on top of that, you see new things every day. I seen a couple days ago, I see a dude with a piano in the middle of the street going crazy on the piano, right? You don't see things like that every day. So the conversations that we have is imagine this, imagine that, or would you ever imagine that we'd have this much people from all over the world, right? All over the world. There's reporters here from France, from Turkey, from Asia, right? And they're here to look at us. None of us would really imagine any of that happening, right? But that's where it begins, right? And that's the thing as we grow into adults that we sometimes forget. As kids, we believe that we can do anything, right? We believe that we can turn into animals. We believe that we can fly. We believe that monsters and things that help us out exist, right? But as we get older, we start to lose all that. So imagination is the first step. First step is actually dua, right? Making dua in your deen. After that is putting it into words, imagining, hey, what if this happened? What if I did this? And not only saying what if, but like, when do I do this, or how can I do this, right? So this piece is about imagination, and it's just to encourage all of you guys to continue to imagine and to continue to inspire one another. So this piece is called Imagination, inshallah. Imagine a world where worries are blurred, where mixtapes grow on trees and rap battles roam free, where we all got afro puffs and there's no handcuffs and our black beautiful skin is bulletproof, where the dragons with the badges are burned with our handmade matches and the humans consumed by the flame are set free, and only I am left spitting fire. See, I would take y'all around the world, but I would need a choir. I would need a choir, Dr. King at the altar, and for y'all to have that desire. Man, whatever happened to the kid who knew for a fact that he could turn into a cat, fight off aliens and fly on a mat, do all that in his backyard, man, whatever happened to that? See, I was a ladder with his genie and last wish, till they twisted my words and framed me a terrorist. And now all I ever want to do is either slit my wrist or raise my fist. Get your fist in the air. Either slit my wrist or raise my fist. See, I take a lot of risks, but I reap the rewards. That's what makes me an activist, and imagination, that's what made me this. Thank you.
Give it up for Muhammad, that was beautiful. That's what we need. We need to support black artists and poets. They're saying what our souls are saying. We love that. Who we have next is an organizer and activist from the American Palestinian, is it Federation or, oops, sorry. Mariam, you guys all know her. Mariam, give it up for Mariam. So many layers. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I want to start out by thanking the organizers for inviting me here. I honestly don't take that lightly. I feel like I'm in between so much energy, so much passion, so much pain, and so much emotion. So thank you for allowing me to be here and to allow me to speak. My name is Mariam Khatib. I'm part of American Muslims from Palestine. I'm standing here with you today as a Muslim, as a Minnesotan, as a Palestinian. We stand with our black brothers and sisters. We stand in solidarity. We stand for your struggle for liberation, because it is our duty, first and foremost, again, as Muslims and as humans. But I want to take a moment for us to be real. If you got angry over George Floyd's death and murder and that video, don't feel good about yourself that you're angry now. That's a very low standard. It's a very low standard. Your apolitical friends are angry. Your white friends who live in Cloud 9 are angry. Our Zionist friends are chanting Black Lives Matter. This is a very low standard. So we gotta be real with ourselves, that this wave that we're riding right now, this is not an indication of your solidarity. I know we're throwing out that term that we stand in solidarity, but your tweets and your Instagram posts and your Facebook rants and your chants, they can only go so far. They're not gonna do anything, right? It's a good way to get your energy out. It's a good way to express solidarity, but your solidarity is gonna show next month. It's gonna show in 6 months. It's gonna show in a year. If you're showing up, if you're checking in on your friends, if you're calling them up and you're asking them, hey, what can I do? How can I use my privilege to help? How can I support you? So just a reminder for myself, first and foremost, that solidarity is more than just words. It's more than social media. It's showing up. I know Ayan, I think I knew Ayan before George Floyd. I knew Selma before George Floyd. I knew Malik before George Floyd. They showed up for us, and we show up for them. It's not the video that brought us here. It's the humanity between us. It's the brotherhood. It's the sisterhood. That's where solidarity is built. Everyone's tweeting. Everyone can do that. Even the racists are tweeting, and we unfortunately in the past couple of days have seen the hypocrisy. We've seen how deep racism runs in our community. It's terrifying. It's mortifying. And it's going to take a long time to fix. But that's our duty. That's our duty as Muslims. That's our duty as humans on this earth. And so to our black brothers and sisters, you inspire us. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your realness. I've had people call me out, and I appreciate it. We're gonna mess up. We're gonna get things wrong, because this is what systemic oppression is. This is what systemic racism is. We've been raised in it. And it's gonna take a long time to fix, but that's why we need to learn. Don't let your activism be flash activism. Don't be active when it's cool to be active. How many people do you know quote Malcolm X? Right? We can all invoke Malcolm X. How many of us have tweeted Malcolm X quotes? But how many of us have actually read his book from cover to cover? And I admit, for a time, I was like in admiration of Malcolm X, but I had never read his autobiography. And I read the book. You know, there's a lot more in the book than what get quoted on social media. There's a lot of backstory. There's a lot of context. There's a lot of stuff that isn't, you know, newsflash, right? There's a lot. I mean, how many of us knew what Malcolm X went through? How many of us actually understood that Malcolm X was isolated by his community? You don't get that from his quotes, right? And so the education is really important. Read the covers. Read the book from cover to cover. Be active every day, in every interaction. Not when it's cool. Not when when everyone's else doing it. Not when people are watching you. Start with your activism at home. Start within your communities. Man, we're having such tough conversations. It's so painful. It's so embarrassing. It's so difficult. But that's what it's gonna take. That's what it's gonna take. And again, I just want to give a shout out to the leaders. The Muslims have been holding it down in this struggle. We see you. We love you. Please forgive us for our shortcomings. But we are with you until the end. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mariam. Let's give another round of applause to Mariam. Thank you. The next speaker we have is someone you all know, the executive director of CARE Minnesota, someone who's been there for a lot of us, someone who's been there for almost everything, it feels like.
Jailani Hussein, let's go!
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. I want to first of all greet you all with a greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I didn't hear you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I want to first of all appreciate the leaders that put this event together, and you saw them, Ayan, Filson, and many others. I want to just also recognize that right now, if you look around, there's a lot of young people here. And I want to appreciate you for being out here, because you have been leading our community in this fight. I see you at the protest. I see you at every corner, and I want you to know there is no other leaders. You are the leader for our community, and it's this time right now that you have to step up. And do not take the youth as a cripple, because the youth is your advantage. You're nimble, you care, and you believe in what is truly possible. So I want to tell some truth, because I've been at some of these protests, and I always start off by saying we have to tell the truth, and the truth can set us free. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. The truth is what we have to believe in. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam left us in the last khutbah, reminding us of his last speech. The last words our Prophet ﷺ told the world was about racism, and how racism was going to be the enemy, and racism was going to be the one thing that's going to destroy our communities and turn us against each other. And we have to be a society and a community that in this moment reminds how we can get out of that in this moment. As I said, the truth is important. What happened here to George Floyd is something that many of us are actually guilty of. And it's hard to say that, but many of us are actually guilty of. What happened right there on 38th in Chicago was a tax-paid, televised torture of a human being in America. That's exactly what happened here. If you live in Minneapolis, you live in Hennepin County, if you live in this state, your taxes paid for the killing and torture of George Floyd. And when we believe that and understand that truth, we recognize showing up to a protest, feeling guilty, is not the answer or the solution that needs to happen. Because there's been many George Floyds all over this country and right here in Minnesota. And you're going to hear from some families even here today in a few minutes. So I want to speak directly to many of you here today, and I know a majority of you here are Muslim. Our religion is part and parcel of the history of this nation. Don't ever believe that Islam is new to America. A third or a quarter of all African American slaves that came to this country were Muslim. Their religious identity was aimed to be destroyed. But the reality is, in this country, Islam has been here since its inception. And we today also stand on the ground that has been stolen, looted from Native Americans. When they talk about looting, they looted people from Africa, and they looted this land from Native Americans. So this is the truth that we have to carry. And if you know your history very well, and his name is being invoked right now, our Imam, our late Imam, Malcolm X, he believed in the dignity of a human being. He believed in that, he fought for that, and as Muslims, as black Muslims in this country, and Muslims of all colors in this country, we have a responsibility to fulfill the legacy of Malcolm X and many of the great leaders of this country. So I want to know right now, all of you came here today because you believe that you can do something. I want you to believe that. I don't want you to look for someone else next to you that is going to make a difference. I want you to know that it is actually you. You are a human being today, standing in America, and for all of us here, we are human beings standing on 38th in Chicago, the murder scene of a human being of George Floyd. And we are standing here gathered to think about true change. So I want, first of all, for all of you to make a deep commitment that you are going to be part of the solution. You're not going to wait for somebody else to figure it out. You're going to be part of the solution. And that solution means that you go back to your city, you go back to your school, you go back to your neighborhood, you go back to your community, and you demand change. And I don't mean like a band-aid change that is being proposed right now. I'm talking about a fundamental change. Because we have been in these places before. We came together like this when Jamar Clark was killed. We came together like this when Philando Castile was killed. We came together, many of you came together when Isaac Ayton was killed and many others. But we are now back again here and George Floyd is killed. We failed when Jamar Clark was killed. We failed when Philando Castile was killed. We failed when Isaac Ayton was killed. And now, with George Floyd, we cannot fail. We cannot afford to fail. We cannot afford to fail. And so, if you think you are the solution, you are going to be the solution. But if you think somehow, someone over there in the government, some elected leader, some person in that house, some place that far is going to make the change happen, that is not how change happened in America. In the civil rights movement in this country, it was protests, it was people who made the government uncomfortable, it was people who demanded change on the line that made that change happen. When the Civil Rights Act was passed, it wasn't passed because President Lyndon Johnson wanted to pass it. He actually didn't want to pass it. He was using every possible excuse to deny justice. But guess what? People did not believe that. They came back, they continued to protest, they demanded for that change, and that change happened. And so we are a legacy of people who sacrificed everything they had, their life, to make change happen. And I want all of us to recognize right now, we can do that as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you could be the best people to mankind. Speaking to us. How? By enjoying the good and forbidding evil. That means it's not going to be everybody. Just like even today, how many people came out of our community? Not that many. Right? Some people are going to come out and they are going to command the good and forbid the evil. And when they do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will support them with angels and support that they could not imagine. So I want you to believe when you stand in this moment and you move forward, you have God behind you. And there's nothing more powerful than having God on your side. And we believe that. We truly believe that. So for all the young people here today, if this is your first protest, if this is your first moment, I want you to know Allah has chose you to be here. And you chose yourself to be here. Now just make sure you make a commitment that you're not going to do this on Facebook, that you're not just going to show up to a protest and go back to average normal. I want you to make sure that you now become the thorn that is going to change the system. The thorn that is going to make sure that they know there's someone in society that is fighting racism. Racism within our communities, racism out in the justice system. And right now in Minnesota, as I keep saying it, we did not choose this moment. This moment chose us. If we could not bear the moment of changing this country right now, Allah has given us the opportunity to change the United States of America's justice system from right here in this corner, 38th in Chicago. We are going to change the entire country from this moment right now. And justice for George Floyd doesn't mean 4 officers are in prison. Justice for George Floyd means this entire system is completely replaced. From the police officers to the prosecutor and to the unjust laws that are in this country that are on books right now that create the continuous incarceration of black people in this country. And we need to demand that change as much as possible. But I don't believe in just demanding it. I believe in getting justice and getting it by any means necessary. Now, the final thing I want to tell you, and I and I want to be careful by saying this, but many of us in this moment right now are confused. Many of us in this moment right now are pained. I just want you to know that there have been people protesting, leading us understand this issue, and we need in this moment to follow them, to uplift their voices, and to recognize that we can come together as a community and make that change happen. Community police brutality, Twin Cities, that they're doing. Because I'm going to tell you what, the police system in this country and the justice system in this country, they're going to try to create new leaders for us who are going to give us watered down policies, watered down resolutions, and we have to deny that, because that's not true change. That is controlled change. We want true change. We want reform. We want to transform the entire justice system to work for all of us, whether you are white in this country, whether you're black in this country, whether you're brown in this country. If you are in the United States of America, justice should be something that you have a right to. Now, finally, many of you don't understand what happened to us since the call for justice for Jamar. What we saw in Minneapolis was also what we have been seeing in this country for so long. White nationalists, white supremacists who have been fed, supported, and in most cases even supported by police officers, have came onto our communities, burnt our buildings, and continue to threaten every single one of us. They specifically targeted immigrant-owned businesses. You saw in those videos that guy breaking one of the auto store. That was not from our community. I've never seen that person protest for any day of the week. So I want you to know in this moment right now, hate groups across this country want to also divide us. Hate groups across this country are threatening our lives and our community. And we have to be united more than ever, because all of this is coming from the same evil in this country. In the same evil in this country. And so before I leave, I have one request. Many of you, especially young people who want to help out, if you want to pull your phone out right now, I'm going to give you the text the number, so at least we can connect with you and let you know what opportunities and protests and opportunities that you can take advantage of. In fact, on Tuesday of next week, we're planning to have a big protest in downtown Minneapolis at 5 p.m. at the Government Center. I hope many of you can join us. There are a lot of protests happening tomorrow as well as on Sunday. So if you pull your phone out, here's the number. I want you to text the number 6 to this number, right? So you put 6 in the send box, but the phone number is 612-200-2550. 612-200-2550, and then you're going to text the number 6, and then you'll sign up to a list so that we can continue to invite you to opportunities where you can make a difference. So, and finally, I want to just say this. I'm honored to bring somebody up, and I'm going to tell you the story. Many of you don't know, but it wasn't Trump that caused Islamophobia. Okay? This administration is not what caused Islamophobia. Islamophobia existed, and has existed for a very long time. In fact, it threatened all of us. And many people in Minnesota were shocked when they heard of a Muslim woman who was physically assaulted by another person for literally being out with her family. And I want to tell you this story because many of you remember this incident. It involves our sister Esma Jama, who was at Applebee's with her family. And I personally believe a white supremacist and her sister, what I found was what I find in many black women in this country: determined, courage, confidence, and most importantly, understand the moment. And what Esma did is something I can't ask a lot of people to do. She was ready to believe and understand how hate works, and she was ready to work and even try to reach out to the family that committed this crime against her. In fact, Esma did not just stop there. Esma is the reason today we have hate crimes laws in the state of Minnesota. She didn't just stop with her case, she also made sure that we had a law to make sure anyone who commits a hate crime in Minnesota is going to be charged accordingly. Because before that, the hate crime statute was only not a statute that you could add on when somebody's assaulted. In addition to that, Esma befriended the actual sister of the woman who attacked her. And I want to tell you, it takes a lot of courage to be assaulted, but recognize the moment. And in that moment, Esma's words spoke very loud, and it changed the course of history in Minnesota. And that is the type of people we have in our community. And without further ado, I want to welcome Sister Esma. Jama, please give her a warm welcome. A tremendous respect for this woman and everything you've done.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you guys very much. I'm not taking the moment from George Floyd. We are here because of him. When I saw the video, it took me back to the moment when I was having dinner with my family, speaking in Swahili, careless, happy, when a human being who was a white supremacist decided to throw a beer mug across my face because she didn't like the fact that I was speaking Swahili. But she never asked me if I speak English. So for me, I'm here. I'm alive. I can talk about it. I healed from it. I spoke so many times about it. But people like George Floyd, unfortunately, we have to be their voice. We have to fight for him. We have to say enough. Police brutality and white supremacists, for me, goes hand in hand. I'm sorry if anybody gets mad. I mean, you can go. I don't care. We suppress a lot because I first of all want to give kudos to the youth. They are the leaders for tomorrow, and they said exactly what I wanted to say. Every day when I leave my house, I leave as a black, first of all as a woman, black, immigrant, and Muslim. Already, when a white supremacist looks at me, I'm exactly what they hate most in the world. But, and I will insist on the but, I could care less. I don't care. I don't care about how they feel. I don't care about why they think they're superior to us. As a Muslim, we know Allah said, I created all of you equally. So if you want to sit in your house, and I'm begging the white supremacists, if any of you is here, the only place you can do your nonsense is your house. When you come to our streets, we will fight you. We will fight you with words, we will protest, we'll make sure you never, ever, ever have power over everybody else in America. We matter. George Floyd lives matter. A Muslim woman's life matter. A Christian woman's life matter. A black man's life matter. We all matter. It doesn't matter if you're white, black. I don't care. We all matter because we were created by one God. Whether you believe in Islam or Christianity or Judaism or you're an atheist, that's on you. But I'm a Muslim and I believe that Allah created all of us equally. And to me that means I will respect you. I will stand up for you. I will never let anybody talk down to you. And I expect you to do the same. Because we are all we have. We are all we have. We are all we have. Don't listen to the politicians. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. But he doesn't affect our lives every day, who have to work, who have to be stopped by the police. He doesn't live in Minnesota. He can say whatever he wants on Twitter, right? Only his base get excited when he says, when he dog whistles some white supremacist things. We all by now get when he's dog whistling to them. I stand here today to say when we say Palestinian lives matter, we get backlash. And that time is over. We are not going back. This is a revolution. And it's not only a revolution for African Americans and us black women and Muslim women. It's a revolution for the Palestinians. It's a revolution for the Syrians. It's a revolution for everybody that is oppressed in this world today. We are all going to stand up together. There is no Muslim who's better than another one. If you're an Arab Muslim and you think you're better than me because you're an Arab Muslim, please, 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 you're not a Muslim. You're not a Muslim. Because we know Islam frowns on racism. So we are all equal to our Christian brothers and our white brothers as well. So everybody that wants to divide us, we have to fight them and tell them, look, your time's up. Time's up. Time's up. Rest in peace, George Floyd. No justice. No justice. No justice. Black Lives Matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Esma, and thank you for your words. Thank you for your courage. I also want to just, in this moment, we have a couple of families that will be speaking. I want to bring some of those families up in a minute. But lastly, I want to leave with you these words, and that is, I really believe that we can win and we can change America. It's been done before, and we can do it again. And right now, I really want to speak to our allies who are here today, a lot of the white people who are here today. I want you to know that Dr. King never cared about trying to convince the KKK. He was always interested in getting the majority of Americans to recognize this fight is their fight more than it is our fight. And in this moment right now, we need everybody in this community to be able to stand up for justice. And we need to do that in a way where we can do it right. And I really believe Minnesota has some special qualities to be able to do this. We got to get out of our Minnesota nice and Minnesota passive aggressive. We got to right now reach out to our brothers and sisters from all different races and culture. We need to check in on our neighbors. We need to check in on ourselves. This is a moment right now in a crisis where we need to bond even deeper. We need to build real, authentic relationships. And in this moment right now, we have to demand for everything. We can't demand for half. We got to demand for everything. And so many of you are standing here today. I see you. I appreciate everything that you're doing. But this fight is going to be a fight we're going to have to fight hard. You saw how this justice system is broke. George was killed on Monday. It took the entire world to burn to have all those 4 officers arrested a week and a half later. That's what this justice system is so for. It is intended to only uplift and protect white supremacy and police officers. It is not built to protect us. If you look around right now, many of you today, you never see the police. You don't see the police. But come to our neighborhoods. Come to economically depressed neighborhoods in this city. And ask yourself, why don't you live there? Because apparently there's more crime. No, the reason why people don't live in North Minneapolis or East Side in St. Paul is because there is a military power there that is occupying, threatening people. There is economic injustice, which is part of the police brutality as well. They use the fact that you're poor against you, not to help you. They don't show up and take the poor and homeless into a place of dignified. They take them into prison. We have created a system that dehumanizes people in this country. And that doesn't happen just on our streets. Our nation only knows how to export violence all over the world. We send more military aid. We send more weapons to go kill innocent people all over this world than to send peace all over this world. Our nation has not checked the military-industrial complex, which has now turned on us because you see the same military that is selling military-grade equipment to police departments to police us and threaten us. So I want you to know this is all connected. And the biggest connection of all is corporate greed. Corporate greed is the biggest connection of all of that. These police departments, these prison cells that you see today, all of that is run by corporate greed. And none of us benefit from that. None of us benefit from that. If you work for the corporate company, you never benefit from that. You are a number to them. They will spit you out any day of the week. It is the elite, rich people in this country who want to dominate us and be their slaves. And that has happened in other times when we had the pharaoh. Today we have many pharaohs in many corporations across this country who are slaving people in prisons all over this country, who are creating fear and killing us with high-grade military power. This country invests more in military than educating our children. This country invests more in killing people than saving people in this pandemic right now. They're willing to put more weapons all over the world than invest in healthcare. That is the truth that we have to fight. And we can't do that if we think the simple issue is 4 officers showed up and killed a human being. It's not. It was the law. It was the system. It was the country. It was the governor. It was the mayor. It was everybody that showed up there and assassinated and tortured George Floyd. And if we do not do something about it, we are all guilty. I started this early and I told you the truth. This was tax paid. These officers we paid them to kill George Floyd. That's the guiltiness that we all have to feel right now. And many of you believe that Mike Freeman is a bad attorney general. You put him in there. You voted him in. That's the reality. Mike Freeman should have never been a county prosecutor after he failed Jamar Clark, after he failed the countless lives in Minneapolis, Thurman and others. He has failed us because he believes in the system. The system is protecting him. And right now, I'm also calling many police officers. There's a lot of police officers that say, oh, by the way, I don't do that. Man, resign. Show us. Show us that you stand with the people and not stand with the system that is killing us right now. And that's the truth. That is the truth. That is the truth. We got to continue to tell the truth, because once we tell the truth, we take it, we realize it, we study it, and we can do something about it. And I want you to know right now, there are young people in this movement who are getting focused, who are seeing what they have to do, and they realize that the change is going to come in their hands, that change is going to come in their feet, and that change is going to come in their mouth, and some of them, the change is going to come in their fingertips. But I'm going to tell you something. America is ready. The question is Minnesota ready to lead? Are Minnesotans ready to lead? Are Minnesotans ready to lead? And that means don't go back to your house. Just because the military left, that doesn't mean we're going to protest. And that means don't go back to just protesting when it's convenient to you. I want everybody to protest where they think the protest is needed. Take your family there and make those people uncomfortable. And if they're not going to lead, let them step out. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's an election coming. And both of those parties have failed our people. Both of those parties have failed our people. None of them. Because if this is happening, it is because of their failure. And I want you to know, some of you in this room today, you have more moral courage to stand and deliver justice than the people who are serving us right now. So don't think that there's somebody else going to solve it. If you got the moral courage to change the system, run for office, and let's make this country change right now. Not tomorrow, not another day, not a week from now, but right now. And we can do that. I believe that, and we can do that. Buildings can burn. Cities can burn. We can replace any building we want. We can replace this entire city and renew it. But I'm going to tell you right now, we killed a human being we will never be able to replace. Our tax dollars continue to kill people all over the world, and that is guilt on us. And I believe there will be a day where we will stand in front of God and we will have to answer for our silence. Not our speech. We'll be answering for our silence. Why did you do something about it? Why did you protest it? Why did you deny your government from killing innocent people all over this world? We have only caused terror everywhere else. In Iraq, in Palestine, and all over the world we go today, the United States is known for killing people, not bringing peace and prosperity. And that is something we are guilty of, brothers and sisters. And that type of injustice there is right here. And it showed up right here on 38th in Chicago multiple times. This is not the first George Floyd on 38th Chicago. If you live in Minneapolis, and I've lived here since 1993, you know what 38th in Chicago is. Right? And 30th Chicago has always been an area where police have continuously done brutality here. In fact, we'll have someone coming up, a family member who was killed on Chicago. Their family member killed here on Chicago. So with that said, I'm going to say the last thing. I believe deep down in my heart that God is on our side. And if I believe God is on our side, then everything left with us is just our effort. Because the rest is going to come from God. If you believe that Allah is on our side, then the rest is going to come from God. The question is, do you want to do God's work today? Or do you want to give it to somebody else? The question is, you want to do something. And to all the young people, you are our leaders. Don't wait for somebody else. Don't wait for nobody to give you the microphone. Take that microphone. Do what you got to do. Lead us. And includes the youngest people like you. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a young woman who sat down. All she did was took a sound like that and she just sat down in front of a building. You know her name? She just sat in front of a building. That's all she did. You know who I'm talking about? Greta. All she did was just sat in front of a building. I mean, think about this. I'm not asking you to stand in front of a tank. She just sat in front of a building, and the whole world came to her and asked her, why are you sitting in front of the building? And she said, climate change. And now she started a movement across this country. So if you're a young person in this country, I want you to believe that if you stand for right, God is on your side, and the whole world will come to you. And that is why I believe we are witnessing King George Floyd, because he's a king, because he is his life, a sacrifice of his life, and his death means that we are all here today fighting for the justice that killed him and killed so many people in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jelani. Thank you. I just want to take some time, because a lot of you are not people of color. A lot of you are not black. A lot of you lead a different life day in, day out than black folks. And a lot of what you might have been seeing, like all of us, might be different. You might be seeing the police for what they are. You might just see them as, you know, peacekeepers. But thank you to folks like Unicorn Riot. We know that's not the truth. We know that the police has been a terrorist in our communities since we can remember. We know that they've been killing people left and right without impunity since we can remember. And I know a lot of folks in here, especially white folks, of any background, I know a lot of folks don't see that on a daily basis. And I thank you, Unicorn Riot, for plugging us in today and for the work that you do constantly throughout. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate it, we appreciate it. And on that note, I really just want to say, I want to make space for black people. I know all the work that we all need to do to see black people in humanity that's been gone for far, far too long. So I want everybody to repeat after me. Black is beautiful. Black is powerful. Black is beautiful. Black is powerful. Louder. Black is beautiful. Black is powerful. Black is beautiful. Black is powerful. And I know a lot of us need to unlearn what we learn about black people. I know a lot of us see black people and black communities as if we are the systems that bring us down, as if we don't want to work hard, as if we don't want to thrive, as if we don't want to change. But it's all connected, y'all. Our oppression is all connected. So thank you. Thank you. Next up we have Professor Durdiri coming to the stage and speaking on a few things.
Thank you all. Let me start by greeting all of you. Whether you're Muslim or not Muslim, I would like to greet you with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. No, it doesn't work. If you're working for justice, we would like to make the whole world hear this greeting of peace. One more time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you. That means we will continue working for justice. Remember that we're here for the family, friends, brothers and sisters of George Floyd. This will never go away. This is the beginning of a worldwide movement to bring justice in America and justice everywhere on the face of the earth. My brothers and my sisters, standing up here, I know you got tired. I know that you've been standing for some time, but do you know that Islam considers you standing here as the highest level of worship? Standing for justice is the highest level of worship. Islam's heart is peace, but Islam's mind is justice. And when there is no justice, remember this, Islam's heart is peace, but Islam's mind is justice. Once we lose justice, And my brothers and my sisters, let me be honest with you. Any march you participate in for justice, you get highly rewarded. I strongly believe if Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad were living here, they would be among us, speaking with us, and working with us. This is the universal message of peace and justice. This is the universal message of peace and justice. My brothers and my sisters, remember, we have serious challenges in front of us. We have racism, we have police brutality, we have systematic racism, we have violence. We need to stand. By us standing here, we're not standing for any form of injustice. We will never welcome injustice against any human being. I don't care what color you have. I don't care what religion you have. I don't care what language you speak. You're a human being. You're my brother and my sister. We have to work together. We have to go beyond color. We have to go beyond religion. We have to go beyond culture and language. We have to love one another as human beings. My brothers and my sisters, remember this. Remember that the whole world now is standing up for our justice. You've seen the marches in London, in Paris, in Egypt, in Turkey, everywhere. They're saying we're not going to accept the injustices happening to our brothers and sisters in America. What does it mean for us? It means that we also, when the injustice happens anywhere, we need to stand up for it. We will not tolerate injustice here, and we will not tolerate injustice anywhere on the face of the earth. That is the new America that we want. That's your journey. You, as the future leaders of this community, you're going to continue this journey, my brothers and my sisters. Never get tired. Never get tired. We will march all the way to bring justice and peace to everyone. I would like to conclude with this. Let me send a couple of salam. Couple of salam. Salam means peace, but peace and justice. Some Muslims think that you need not to be involved with this. Then you don't understand Islam. Islam considers the highest level of worship is working for justice. You don't work for justice for Muslims. You work for justice for all human beings. And we would like to send together a couple of salam and justice, peace and justice. Let us send one, and I will say the name, and you all say Assalamu alaikum. What we're sending, we're not sending a message of peace, we're sending a message of peace and justice. So let us send the first message to the family of George Floyd. Let us all together say Assalamu alaikum. Now please, all of you. And let us send another message to Washington, D.C. Say Assalamu alaikum. We demand peace and justice. Let us say Assalamu alaikum to the rest of America. Let us say Assalamu alaikum to Europe. Let us say Assalamu alaikum to Africa. Let us say Assalamu alaikum to Asia. Let us say Assalamu alaikum to all human beings. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Professor. That was very powerful. The next speaker we have is a young man by the name of Abdullahi Ali. He's going to be performing some spoken words, so let's give it up for Abdullahi. Let's go!
Assalamu alaikum to y'all. Before I start, I'd like to say thank you for everybody coming out right now. There's a war of attrition, there's a war of reduction, and there's a war of mitigation of the voices and the ideals and the values and beliefs of people who are fighting for justice every day. I'd like to give a thank you to the people who are out here, who organize this event, our black women, who are always on the front line but never get the due reward that they receive. So, with that being said, I'm going to spit a quick poem. I'm not really a good speaker, but my poem will speak for me, so let's begin. The question, why are black people always so loud, stains my pride like asking why a lion's roar is so loud. Upset because they could never shout over us as children, but they've broken us. We only speak in whispers now. Now they strain their ears to barely hear me, predicted their actions like Zora Neale Hurston. If you are silent about your oppression, they will kill you and say that you enjoyed it. So I opened my mouth and they didn't listen. Instead, they broke my jaw and poured their blood and tore me open like riverbanks and African coastlines. They took my story and made it a footnote in their history. They erase me, then blame me when there is no story for me. So just promise me when the lights go off and it's my turn to settle down, promise me you will sing about me. They cover my eyes, paint pretty pictures with white lies, always stained with black blood. Like the dove nose sent out a week turned into 4 centuries and still no olive leaf in sight. Yet they failed to comprehend. Bombing for peace is like for your virginity. I guess that's why they tore our children's bodies open like every land they ever sold to. So they said, if the laws weren't written in our language, they don't exist. So I become the lion, and they become the hunter. And every history script thereafter all followed the same pattern. Until the lion learns how to write, history will always be told from the view of the hunter. But the problem is, the truth is, something their story could never utter. Every time I open my mouth to tell the truth, they shoved it back down my throat with the barrel of a Colt 45. And after all my dying, Walalo, I have learned how to live. Walalo, when they break your jaw, speak with your hands. When they break your hands, speak with your eyes. When they bind your eyes, speak with your colors. When they plunder your rainbows, speak with your storm clouds. Speak with your rhythm, speak with your dance. Tell your story any way you can. Before any Samaritan's purse was opened, their eyes were first. Walalo, when they tie your hands and bind your eyes, tell your children of your stories. Let these stories never leave you. Bind these truths around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. These are your proverbs. When they ask you about them, tell them these are the words the diaspora entails. Tell your story, Walalo. Your only death will come when they silence you. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdullahi. That was amazing. I want to remind everyone we're still dealing with COVID-19, so please keep your masks on and distance as much as you can. Philson's going to introduce what the next thing we're doing, and
I know it's getting hot, so if you are thirsty, there's a little swimming pool full of water and ice. So please help yourselves and take care of yourselves. It's a hot day. But I just learned that our next speaker is Fatima Ikat, and her husband was killed by the police, who are terrorists. In 2002, he was killed senselessly for no reason, and she has been burdening this crime that happened to her family, and hasn't had her just right to take the police that killed her family be held accountable for what they did to her husband and her family. And she just wants to share her story and let it be known on what was taken from her that day. So please give it up for Father Mu'aykad.
I'm gonna be reading a statement that she's written. My name is Father Mu'aykad. My husband got killed on March 10, 2002. He was a Somali African American male. His name was Abdi Qasim Jailani. My husband was hospitalized in a mental institution prior to his death. 3 days after he was discharged, he was shot and killed by 8 police officers, all while my husband was unarmed. No one helped him, and his killers are still on the streets. The same cops that murdered my husband and left my children fatherless are the same cops that I, along with every other American, pay our taxes to serve and protect. Unfortunately for me and my children, on March 10, 2002, our faith in the justice system was shattered. Because on that day, we learned that my husband and father to my children, who was not mentally stable and also unarmed, would get shot by 8 different officers and get away with it. On that day, those 8 officers left my children fatherless, and they also left my husband's deceased body on Franklin in Chicago with 40 bullets. I still shake when I think about it. To think my husband, who meant no harm to anyone, will be able to scare 8 police officers so much that they found it acceptable to leave 40 bullets in him, all in the name of self-defense, and walk free. March 10, 2002 was single-handedly the worst day of my life. I don't know what's worse, the fact that my husband was taken from me and my children, or that his killers roam free, while they keep their titles as officers of the court and continue to deceive the public into thinking that they are protecting and serving Americans. The justice system brought great shame and embarrassment to me and the rest of Americans on March 10, 2002, and it continues to be a shame and embarrassment by allowing those 8 murderers to walk free. When I say what's his name, I want you guys to say Abdi Qasim Jailani. Say his name. Say his name. I need you guys louder than that. I'm gonna help you pronounce it for all the white people here. Abu Qasim Jailani. Abu Qasim Jailani. Abu Qasim Jailani. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. We need justice for Abu Qasim Jailani. We need justice for George Floyd and everybody else who was murdered by MPD and these murderous police officers walking around the streets pretending to protect us when they are terrorizing the people that they're supposed to protect. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. It's a shame. It's a shame and embarrassment what they did to this mom's husband. It's a shame, and we can never allow that to happen again. They will not take another child from us. They will not take another man from us. They will not take another woman from us. As long as we stay united, never should this happen again. And it's on us to make sure that they don't have the guns to kill us or the budget to keep expanding their police force. We need to defund and de-arm the police. It's not enough that they put Black Lives Matter on the streets. We don't want a street sign. We don't want to kneel with police. We don't want your HUDs. There is no peace without justice. That's a false peace, and we don't want it. That's tainted. That's corrupted. We want justice. We want justice. We want peace. 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 Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. We're almost done. We have 2 more speakers. The next person speaking would be James, so please give it up.
Assalamu alaikum. Man, you know, I want to take a moment because I'm going to be short. Because, you know, I know everybody going to be checking all my surahs and everything. But I'm going to tell you, it's not a coincidence that we're in a town, that we have a town named Medina here. It's not a coincidence that Keith Ellison is the one that prosecutes the cops. It was said that Islam will rise in the West. We got albino white Muslim rappers named Brother Ali. All right? This is happening. The first gift ever given to the United States was the Quran from Morocco. How many people knew that? The first gift ever given to the United States was the Quran from Morocco. All right? Also, Keith Ellison got sworn in on Thomas Jefferson's Qurans. How many people knew that? How many people knew that Keith Ellison got sworn in on the Quran? Raise your hand. Now, how many people knew it was Thomas Jefferson's Quran? Okay? My point to you is that the influence of Al-Islam in this town and in this state has been tremendous. And thinking that there has been a struggle, there has been a continuous struggle, but we got to break this peace, and we got to be accountable as Muslims as well for these corner stores, y'all. We got these corner stores in our neighborhoods as black folks that have been preying on us, treating us bad at different times, sleeping with our women for diapers, but not giving us a nickel off a pickle. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm only saying that because this is the community to say it to, because people are like, yeah, we need to close the stores. No, we don't need to close the stores and have them turned over to just some white folk. But there's Masjid An-Nur. There's Masjid An-Nur. And I'll tell you this, and I'm leaving this for my Muslim brothers and sisters. I'm still working on my deen. I took my Shahada in 2000. I said, Allah, let me know I'm doing the right thing. Oh yeah. They're like, okay, you Muslim, okay. Alright, I took my shahada in 2000. My whole family's Christian, and I said, Allah, let me know I'm doing the right thing, because if I just be Christian, I'll be the #1 like youth minister in the country, right? I said, Allah, I need a sign. And Imam Makram El-Amin announced that I was taking my shahada, and after he announced I was taking my shahada, the power went out like 19 blocks each direction. I took my shahada in the dark. Now, for other people that ain't Muslim, this don't sound like that big a deal, but y'all like, what? My shahada, like, so no, they put me halfway in the musalla, halfway in the hallway, and then they had to form a half circle to let light in, and they had to open the doors to the masjid. If anybody knows what Masjid an-Nur means, it means Mosque of Light. I took my shahada in the dark at the Mosque of Light. This is fact. Yep, people gonna Google like, hold on, let me see if this is true. My point to you is, I asked Allah for me, an answer for me, but He made sure that He showed everyone at that time, because the problem is, I felt like if I had been Somali, it would have been like, oh, Takbir, brother. All shahadas is the same. Allahu Akbar. This is great. And I felt like if I had been a bad guy, just got out of jail, I would have heard, brother, you know, maybe this means you need to work on your deen. The Prophet didn't have dreads, you know. But because I was a black dude that didn't speak good Arabic and was already praying, speaking out again was wrong, but physically removing it with my hand in my life, there was no explanation. Because my explanation was from Allah. He told me what I needed to know, okay? And I share that with y'all because you gotta understand that African Americans established Salat in the United States. Your battering ram is the African American Muslim. Another lesson is to understand that the Nation of Islam, whether you believe in it or not, thank you. Glad we believe, I'm glad we're on the same page. Now check this out. The Nation of Islam, brother, that's not Islam. You have to understand that black men were worshiping white people before the Nation of Islam. You can never tell a group from their country that what civilized them ain't real. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying you have to believe it, but you have to understand that's the organization that made black men stand up and be men. That's where you get Malcolm X from. That's where you get Muhammad Ali from. You know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Men who kept their integrity to the end. Okay? So the African American Muslim is the battering ram because we can't be deported. Where they gonna send my ass? You know? I went to and I'm gonna tell you why I say this and I'm gonna get off. I went to a black student union one time at the U of M and they were like, yo, we got an African student union and a black student union, and they was like, yo, Africans run the black student union and the African student union and the black. I said, you can't have Africans run the black student union. He said, what? I said, they ain't gonna let your black ass run the African student union. They know you don't know what's going on in Africa. They got money to send to people. We got green cards, all type of stuff. I said, they would really scrutinize you to be that, but y'all being lazy and y'all want them to do it because they working hard because they believing in the democracy and all that. I said, but you can't get nobody with it. They said, well, why not? I said, you can't have nobody with a green card in the position of an African American. I said, we're the ones that kick open the door. They the ones supposed to send in the supplies. We can't be deported. So everybody's so smart trying to be in charge of some shit. I said, listen, if they in charge, it's gonna be some fashion shows and some dinner because ain't nobody trying to get deported, all right? They're like, we never thought about that. I'm like, yeah, we all got different strengths. You're African American Muslims? Thank you. We all got different strengths. So there's not a coincidence that there's a Medina here. It's not a coincidence that Keith Ellison, I used to do a radio show with Keith Ellison called Black Power Perspectives. And when they told me he had Tim Ross do the alley-oop, like, yo, Keith, take care of it. I knew their ass was going to get convicted. If you knew Keith Ellison, you knew they was going to get convicted. How many people knew Keith was going to convict him? Raise your hand. Keith Muhammad, you know. Yeah, Keith was going to convict him. I seen a bow tie appear on him. I knew he was about to convict him. Joke. Anyway, I appreciate y'all listening, but remember, our strength is in the Ummah. My Arabic ain't perfect. Heck, I'm not really good at it. I'm still working on making all my prayers every day. And I needed a belief that would hold me accountable to being in submission to a higher power so that my ego could not lead. And I want you to know that your community, your black Muslim community is here. These corner stores have exploited our neighborhoods long enough. All I'm asking them to do is turn over the keys to some black Muslims. Does that make sense, y'all? We ain't got to run people through the mud about sexual harassment and all the rest. We're Muslims. We'll handle it internally. But the discussion we need to move forward to in all these corner stores in each part of our neighborhoods is, if you've been making money off African Americans, you've been sending your kids to college off African Americans, and you have built these relationships over these 20 years, Turn over the keys. Let's strengthen the Ummah. Assalamu alaikum.
James Everett.
All right, now I wanna. It's an honor for me to introduce a family member, the brother of Isaac Ayton. Isaac Ayton was killed in Minnesota, and I just took the microphone because I wanted to say something, because I've been on the streets with the family and with many people.
We have a special on Isaac Ayton on our website, unicornriot.ninja.
Many of you today, I didn't
live
see
in
you
Minneapolis,
on those
30th in
days.
Chicago.
I didn't see you when we were in Egan City Hall. I didn't see you when we were in the Bloomington City Hall. I didn't see you when we were protesting. And the reason why is because two things. Number one, the media is selective. The media is selective. And that is why we have to support our own media. If you want to know what's happening, I want you to follow Nico and Unicorn Riot. Because he's here, he's recording everything that's happening right now. If you feel like, oh, I don't know what happened, what is Isaac Ayton? Who's Isaac Ayton? The reason why is the media never told you the truth. They never tell you the truth. They always tell a single story, and that single story always is not about us. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, many of us believe and continue to believe today that George Floyd is an isolated incident. George Floyd was killed by the system that continues to kill black people in this country all over the place. And so you just heard from someone who was the wife of Jaylani, who was killed in Chicago and Franklin. And now you're going to hear from the brother of Isaac Ayton. And I just hope all of you from this moment on that you recognize, number one, you're going to have to seek that information. Don't rely on channel 4, 5, 9, and 11. Rely on the community organizations that are bringing information to you. That's number one. Number two, we need to stand up and right now demand that the governor and also the attorney general open all the cases of police brutality in this state so that those families can get justice for their loved ones who have been killed by the same system that killed George Floyd. Brother Isaac. Brother Dini, who's the brother of Isaac Ayton.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Jaylani kind of set me up. I didn't have anything prepared or anything to talk about. But I just want to say, just look all around. Like, even before the George Floyd incident, I got you. So even before the George Floyd incident, I was out protesting for Philando Castile, Jamar Clark, because I got sick and tired just watching innocent black people keep getting killed. And I knew that I wasn't any different from Philando, Jamar, or George, and it couldn't be one of us. And on July 2nd, 2019, it was my brother. And for the last year, I've watched the media throw dirt on his name. I've been protesting every single day, trying to get answers, and I've basically done everything in the book. And this house case there was no justice served. We barely got any answers, and it's just been closed as of right now. So I know firsthand what it feels like to have a loved one killed by the police, get no answers, protest nonstop, and still get no results. So the reason I'm out here today is justice for George means justice for Asaf and all victims of police brutality. Within the last week, we've been able to accomplish something we haven't since like the whole history of Minnesota. So in the last week, we got the first white officer to ever be arrested in the state of Minnesota. Out of 500 or so cases, one white officer has been arrested. This is only the beginning, but we've had so much progress just this week. And I encourage every single one of you guys to do more research, to keep coming out to different protests, listen to different family stories. And actually, I wanted to all invite you guys to an event that's happening tomorrow. Give me a quick second to pull it up on my phone. So I got invited to this event that's happening 4 p.m. at Powderhorn Park. So there's a group of family members who've all been victims of police who wanted to do kind of like a remembrance for all their loved ones in their honor. They're going to basically come out, tell their stories, and it's just going to be a very motivational day. I encourage all of you guys, if you guys are not doing anything, to come out. Again, it's going to be at Powderhorn Park at 4 p.m. Central Time. And just do what you guys can. Please don't give up. We've got so much work to do. Protest is the start of progress, but we have to go out and vote. We have to be at the city council meetings. We have to be at every event where decisions about police brutality and our lives are being voted on. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us. I think we're gonna close, but we have some action and some homework for y'all to take home and to do every day. Not today, not tomorrow, not oh my god, is it nobody cares about this anymore? If that is gonna fall off? No, every day until this is over. So there's some folks over there on the corner that are working on recalling Mike Freeman. And Mike Freeman is the the county attorney who has failed at his job time and time again. And he needs to just be let go. He needs to retire. He needs to find another fucking life like George Bush with paintings. But he can't be doing, clearly he can't provide justice when it needs to be done, as you've seen with the families that have spoken. So he needs to be out of a job. So I would urge you, they said if you are a resident of Hennepin County and you are registered to vote, they would like to see you on the corner. They also have a Instagram page. So if you want to follow them, it's recalled Mike Freeman. Mike Freeman is a terrorist, and it's time that he's let go. And they're also going to, thank you, legit, that dude needs to let go. And he's behind putting 5 Muslim kids in jail for 30, 20 years. Unnecessary. That dude is a terrorist. He needs to be let go. Those folks are also organizing, and they're looking for volunteers. So if you want to go around events and collect petitions, they would connect with them, please. And also, oh yes, so for more like next up opportunities for protesting and just to be plugged in, please take this number down. It's 612. Everybody, get your phone out. Get your phone out, everybody. Anybody, I know you have a phone. I know y'all have been Instagramming. I know you've been doing what you need to do. Get your phone out. I'm about to give you a number. 612-200-2550. Hit me. I'm gonna hit you again. 612-200-2550. Text us and we'll give you all the information that you need for next steps. One last thing, to support Black youth that's been doing this work, from folks that are patrolling Cedar every night, because yet again, the system, the cops, the fucking National Guard has failed them, because they be out and patrolling and protecting their community every night. So please, if you can support, if you can throw some money around, this is their URLs. That information is also on our invite page for this event. So please go in and support. Please, and yeah, take a picture, let people know. You know, we all need money, we all need support. So that is one way you can really help.
Yeah, thank you, Wilson. Thank you. And there are also organizations, Black organizations that are serving Black families, Black communities on this list. So take a picture of that URL. You also find it on the event page and both of our social media. Let's put our money where our mouth is, right? Like financially support the people that are doing this work and the youth that are on the streets every single day protecting their neighborhoods and protesting for our rights, for our freedom, right? We need to take care of them the way that they're taking care of us. In Islam, we believe that if you take the life of one person, it's like you took the life of all of mankind. So every single time, y'all, we need to see you out here, all right? If this is your first time, thank you for coming. But this can't be the last time. There's so much work to do, and we need every single person here to hold ourselves responsible and to care about each other the way that we're out here caring about George Floyd, right? Because Black lives do matter. We matter, and we need to take care of ourselves. And we're not waiting for cops or the National Guard to protect us or take care of us. We know what role these institutions have played historically, and we're not waiting for them to fill that gap because they are causing that gap. They are a part of the problem, but the people are the solution. We are the solution. So we're gonna close it out with our brother Malik here. He's gonna recite for us, and he's gonna say something that our souls need to hear. So come through, brother. A round of applause for Malik. Let's hear it for our brother Malik. Come on, y'all.
So I got ambushed again. So I'm gonna read from the next chapter, the Surah Wan-Nazi'at, and I'm gonna read a part where God talks about the tyranny of Pharaoh and how he sent Moses forward to instill justice and to fight against the tyranny of Moses, and how Allah also mentions how short this life is, and that it is really the next life that we're striving for. هل أتاك حديث موسى إذ ناداه ربه بالوادي المقدس طوى اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى فقل هل لك إلى أن تزكى وأهديك إلى ربك فتخشى فأراه الآية الكبرى فكذب وعصى ثم أدبر يسعى فحشر فنادى فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى فأخذه الله نكال الآخرة والأولى إن في ذلك لعبرة لمن يخشى أأنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها رفع سمكها فسواها وأغطش ليلها وأخرج ضحاها والأرض بعد ذلك دحاها أخرج منها ماءها ومرعاها والجبال أرساها متاعا لكم ولأنعامكم فإذا جاءت الطامة الكبرى يوم يتذكر الإنسان ما سعى وبرزت الجحيم لمن يرى فأما من طغى وآثر الحياة الدنيا فإن الجحيم هي المأوى وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى فإن الجنة هي المأوى يسألونك عن الساعة أيان مرساها فيما أنت من ذكراها إلى ربك منتهاها إنما أنت منذر من يخشاها كأنهم يوم يرونها لم يلبثوا إلا عشية أو ضحاها. تكبير تكبير تكبير. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Malik. Thank you so much. So I just want to close it off. Thank you so much for coming and joining us for a Jum'ah protest, as we should, as Muslims, may we always speak about injustice wherever we might be. And I think it's funny when folks that have been oppressed take on views about their oppressors and how they want the suffering to end. Then those views are seen as militant, and those views are seen as radical, and those views are seen as something out of the ordinary and not the violence that those folks suffer every single day. So I have a dua that might be militant, that might be violent to some people, but I want you to remember the fact that the families behind me lost a loved one in a murder. Their family has been murdered by the state with no accountability. These murderers are out and about living their daily lives, going to however they want to spend their lives. They are not affected by the fact that they've killed an innocent life. So if you think that what I'm about to say is militant, then I'm at peace with it. But this dua is something that Nadira tweeted, and it starts, every time I finish the sentence, I want y'all to say Ameen or Amen, same thing. So it starts with, may every morsel of food and every drop of drink be vile. May their days be long and miserable. May Ilahi break your backs and snap your necks. May they never, ever, ever know rest or peace in this dunya and the next. May the hellfire be eagerly waiting for their arrival, for the hell that they've caused in this world. Ameen. Ameen Ya Rabbil Alameen.
Nothing, that's it. What can top that? Nothing. Thank you so much to everybody who showed up. We'll be back. You'll be back. This isn't going to end today. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, if you're down to protest and march, there's a group of people coming from US Bank that are coming this way. So if you want to stick around, come through.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. If I can have your attention before you leave. Well, first off, you know, when one dies, we all die. When there's injustice one place, we all make injustice. There's injustice everywhere. What I want you to understand right now is we're in the world of peace.